Welcome everybody. My name's Angus McKinley and I am coming to you live from my living room. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite commands. It's the command to make disciples. It's covered in the 8th chapter of the Follow Jesus eBook. And in the Great Commission, as this command is called, Jesus gives the marching orders for the church that we are to go and make disciples. He begins in Matthew chapter 28, verses 18 through 20. He begins in verse 18 by saying, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me." And that's a huge statement which we unpack in greater detail in the book. But when someone says to you, "All authority in heaven and on earth belongs to me," if someone has the audacity to claim that they have command of the cosmos, that they are literally the king of the universe, whatever they say next is really, really, really important. And so what Jesus says next is this: go. Because I have all authority in heaven and on earth and everything in it, go make disciples. One of my evangelism professors in seminary, Dr. Roy Fish, who's gone to be with the Lord now, he used to say, we have reversed the Great Commission. We have reversed the Great Commission from go and tell to come and hear. We tell people all the time, come to my church, hear my pastor tell you about Jesus, right? We've relegated sharing the good news to a paid professional rather than going and telling as we've been commanded to. Good news shouldn't be hard for us to share or get excited about. And rather than being a 7-day-a-week thing, it's become a 1-day-a-week thing. And that's not the way it was supposed to be. In fact, the verb go has the implication as you go. So Jesus is implying, hey, you're already going through life. You're already on your way through your day, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you're at school, hanging out with friends, family, whatever you're doing, as you're going, be in the business of helping people find and follow me. Be in the business of making disciples. Now, what's a disciple? That's the next question. The word in the Greek implies that a disciple is a learner. They're a student. The kind of student that was, typical in the time of Jesus was a, follower under the tutelage of a rabbi. And so the rabbi would lead his pupils, his students, his learners to follow his way of life. And that was the goal of the student, was to become like his rabbi in every way. He wanted to learn how his rabbi thought, how his rabbi made decisions, how his rabbi lived his life, and then to follow as closely as possible in the footsteps of his rabbi to become like him, to model his life. And that's the image of what it means to follow Jesus, that we would become an adherent to his ways, not just his words. Yes, we must know his words, but they have to move from our head to our heart, out into our hands, into our life. Now, the next question is, to what extent are we to make disciples? Well, Jesus says, make disciples of all nations. And more than just nation blocks like China or Hungary or Canada. The words are panta ethne. Panta means all. Ethne is where we get our English words, ethnicity or ethnic groups. And so Jesus is saying, go make disciples of all people groups. What that means is the gospel is not just for people you like or people like you. The gospel is for all people. All people everywhere around the world are equally invited to hear and put their faith in the good news that Jesus came to set them free from their sin, to die on the cross, to give them eternal life if they will just place their faith in him. And so the gospel is for all people, no playing favorites. The other implication is that we are to be about the business of making disciples to the end of the age. Jesus says that I will be with you as you are doing this to the very end of the age. The implication is this, that we are to make disciples of all people for as long as time remains. So until you run out of people or until you run out of time, you're to be about the business of making disciples. That's the command. Now, there's an interesting verse in the writings of Paul that highlight this nature of disciple making. It's found in 2 Timothy 2:2. Paul says, "What you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to faithful men who will be able to teach others also." In this verse, there's this exciting progression. There's Paul who says, Timothy, the things that you've seen in my life and that you've heard from my lips, I want to pass on to you to take that and then to pass that along to faithful men who will be able to teach others also, right? And then they'll be able to run with it. Have you ever seen a relay where the relay runners are going around the track and then they put their hand back and the guy running up behind them takes the baton and he puts it in their hand? And so there's this handoff that's happening. And that's the process that discipleship is supposed to take. The things that we've received, we take and we pass along to others. And then they run their leg of the race and then they pass it along to others who take the baton and run and they pass it along to others. Now here's the question. When can Paul know that Timothy is not just a disciple, not just a discipler, but a disciple maker? You might think that Timothy is a disciple maker once he makes a disciple, once he takes what he's received from Paul and he takes that and he hands that off to faithful men. Once the faithful men have it, he's a disciple maker, right? No, he's a discipler. But when the faithful men that Timothy has invested in catch the vision for not just being a disciple, but for making other disciples and hand that off to others also down the line, that's when Paul can say, Timothy is a disciple maker. And that's the beauty that's wrapped up in 2 Timothy 2:2 that illustrates that this command doesn't end once we've passed the baton. That we need to encourage and challenge the people that we've passed the baton to pass the baton. The other day I was watching online. Everyone is doing services online. This is being filmed during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was able to tune in to one of the students that my late wife, Missy, and I discipled when we were in Liberia, West Africa. And now this young man has grown up to be, full-grown man, and he is now leading a church congregation down in Texas, and he is a faithful follower of Jesus to this day. And he is just one of the people that Missy and I handed that baton of faith to and encouraged to move forward in their faith, who is now passing that baton to others and challenging them to pass that baton to others. So my prayer is that you would not just find Jesus and not just follow Jesus, but that you would help other people to find and follow Jesus too, and challenge them to help other people find and follow Jesus. May God bless you as you follow Jesus.